Okay, guys. So, thought I'd do this video about the first presidential debate. I'm going to try to stay as unbiased as possible, but it's going to be really hard to do so in this video. So, as all of you know, I'm a Trump supporter for various reasons. And I've been interested about this debate for literally since Trump and Clinton won the nomination. It's been kind of marked on the calendar, so it was kind of like a must-watch for me. Kind of just starting off and going into it, I want to talk about the moderator, Lester Holt. Holt is actually registered as a Republican, and I was actually really excited to see him as the debate moderator because he does, even though I don't watch NBC News, I like his style. I like how he reported on the Olympics. He seems to be a decent, pretty unbiased reporter in many respects of the job, even though he works for NBC. Tonight was not the case. There was a distinction between what Holt did with Trump and what Holt did with Clinton, without a doubt. Basically, every avenue, Lester Holt was questioning Trump on facts, questioning Trump on his Iraq War involvement. I want to just clear that up right now. What Holt was referring to, Holt kept interrupting Trump, saying, "Well, that's not the facts of the matter. You know, you did support the war in Iraq." Trump actually never has said that he supports the war in Iraq. He was on the Howard Stern show in early 2002 when we were just going in, and Howard Stern asked him, you know, what he thought about the war in Iraq, and he goes, "Well, I don't really know. We'll just have to kind of see what happens." He never really said, he wasn't like, "Oh yeah, I totally support it," or "Oh yeah, it's going to be the best thing ever." And literally, it wasn't 2 or 3 weeks later, they have him on record saying that he thought the war was a complete disaster. So, in the beginning, he might have been kind of like on the fence, like he didn't know for sure, but really quickly he changed his stance. He was totally against it. So, Holt interrupting him about that is total bias. Just trying to play into Hillary Clinton's overall view that he was supportive of the war. I hate to say it, but if we're going into who was supportive of the war, Hillary Clinton was a huge war hawk for the Iraq War, and just was a complete disaster for anything involved in the Middle East. So Holt, I thought, was totally biased towards Trump. I thought it was a disgrace, actually. He brought up Trump's taxes, which I thought Trump handled beautifully, by the way. He brought up Trump's taxes, which is really unfair when you think about it, because I feel like if he asked Trump about his taxes, she should be asked about her emails or the Clinton Foundation, which was never brought up in this thing. I loved how Trump handled the tax kind of allegations. He challenged Clinton to release her 33,000 emails, and then he would release his taxes. That's huge. I mean, if Hillary Clinton really wanted the public to see Trump's taxes, she would take that offer. Problem is, she can't take that offer because the 33,000 emails have incriminating information about her with the Clinton Foundation. So she's never going to do that because she knows that she would probably end up in jail if she did that. So it's just total BS. The funny thing is, Trump even said during the thing when Clinton was questioning him on his taxes, "Well, I was smart for doing what I did." That's what he said, which kind of tells me, and here's my unbiased part, that Trump really probably doesn't pay much in taxes. Here's the deal. I fight like hell every year to pay as little taxes as I can. I would expect pretty much everybody to do the same. Even Trump, I mean, it's not outlandish that him saying that he probably doesn't pay much in taxes. I mean, he probably doesn't, to be totally honest with you. He probably has a battery of lawyers and attorneys that affords him to be able to exploit tax loopholes, put a lot of his income on his businesses, which takes the tax burden off of him. I mean, these are the laws of the country, unfortunately, to say the least. Is it right that he's doing that? No. I mean, most average Americans are having to pay in their fair share for the system. The problem is that due to the laws of this country, he's probably able to get away with a lot of the taxes that he owes. So, questioning him on his taxes, I mean, was kind of ridiculous in that sense, because it's just like, you know, I think most Trump supporters and most people in general realize that Trump probably doesn't pay a lot in taxes. And Clinton kind of hit him on it. Oh, you're not charitable. Oh, you're not this. You're not that. Um, but it's ridiculous when Hillary and Bill are going around giving speeches, getting paid $750,000, and then giving political favors to the Clinton Foundation. I mean, it's a double standard, to be sure. That whole deal, Holt was totally wrong for bringing it up. If he brought that up, he should have brought up something to do with the Clinton Foundation or her email scandal. And then the way that she handled the whole email controversy, she just said, "Oh, I made a mistake," and then Trump replied, "Well, yeah, you really did make a mistake, and a lot of people are upset about it." Um, Her email thing was not a mistake. Like it wasn't something that she did not know about. She purposely did this to make her life easier. Make no mistake about this. It was not a mistake on her part. There was no mistake involved. It wasn't just a simple, like, oops, like, I did this wrong. Like, I totally didn't realize that my emails were on this private server. No, she did this intentionally. She knew what she was doing. She wouldn't have had people go on Reddit to find out how to delete emails of top DNC execs and top donors if she didn't know what she was doing. She wouldn't have smashed Blackberries and other devices that contain the emails if she didn't know what she was doing. And the same thing for her aide. So that whole defense about, oh, it was just a mistake is total bullshit. I'm sorry. It's wrong, completely and utterly wrong. She can say it, slice it however she wants, but it was terrible. Kind of moving on. So that kind of opened up to the debate. They talked about taxes and how Trump would lower taxes on the middle class and the wealthy, and Clinton would raise taxes on the wealthy. And then they talked about the TPP and NAFTA. And Clinton's response to that was ridiculous. She started claiming that she was totally against CAFTA. CAFTA has nothing to do with NAFTA or the TPP, and CAFTA is such a small trade deal in and of itself. It's ridiculous that she would even bring it up. She was totally in support of NAFTA in the beginning. We have it on video. She probably still is. She's just saying that she isn't. She's on record from a year ago saying that she loved the TPP and she was going to approve it. Now she came out like a few weeks ago and said, "Oh no, I'm not going to approve it." Let's get this straight, people. She's going to approve the TPP if she gets in to be president. Just plain and simple. Her donors want it. People like George Soros, who have donated a ton of money to the Clinton campaign, want to see the TPP go through. They have incredible influence over her. She's going to pass the TPP. It's just a fact of the matter. The other thing that I noticed is that I actually thought this debate was going to be rather boring. I thought it was just going to be a lot of just back and forth, just kind of a snooze fest. It wasn't. Like, both Trump and Hillary were like ready to roll with the insults. Two notable distinctions. Here's the deal. Trump is not a policy wonk. He is not a guy that is going to know everything about every little detail of policy. Hillary Clinton does. She is a policy wonk. She knows everything that has to do with anything. Here's the problem I have with being a policy wonk. Since when has policy dictated what a president actually does? Look at Obama. He preached policy for days. I mean, weeks, months during his campaign. Just policy, 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 policy. What has he done with that policy? There is no policy. I mean, policy is a bunch of bullshit. I hate to say it. Policy is something that you can preach but never do, and that's exactly what Hillary Clinton's going to do. She's preaching all of this just utter nonsense that what she's going to do. She's not going to do any of that, guys. Look at Obama. I mean, look at George W. Bush. Every presidential candidate, they preach what they want to do. I mean, Trump even too. He wants to, build a wall. Do I think he's going to be able to do all the stuff that he preaches? Absolutely not. It's utter bullshit, and you got to take it for a grain of salt. All of her facts and details and what she wants to do, it's never going to happen, guys. It's just never going to happen. She's controlled by her donors and special interests. So whatever she says, if it goes against what her donors and lobbyists say, I mean, it's not going to happen. But that was the thing with this debate. I thought it was going to be really boring. I'll be fair. She came out and she knew a lot more about policy than Trump did. A lot more about policy. But like I just said, I just don't believe in policy at this point because it just is never, it's never followed what the candidates have said. So policy basically means nothing to me at this point. Results mean something to me, and I think Trump will be better at producing results than Hillary. And here's the deal. She was actually on the offensive most of the night. She was trying to get Trump on certain things. She had a few good one-liners. I think the problem with her one-liners were, as compared to Trump's, is that it felt like she was wooden. It felt like she had practiced the debate a million times, and she had the kind of the thoughts in her head. She made a certain comment where she said, "Oh yeah, Donald, I was taking the time off to study the debate and be president." Hillary, what does that mean? To be president is to go meet with your constituency, your people, the people that support you, the people that want to know more about you. I mean, if you were truly wanting to be president, you would be out there trying to reach your people, the people that want to support you, the people that are helping you win this thing, or potentially win this thing. Not sitting back in a corner studying for a debate. To be president. I hate to say it, but you can't study for every single thing that's going to happen during your presidency. You got to be a little bit off the cuff. So I don't agree with that either. That line, the audience applauded and everything, but it was just like, I kind of sat there and I'm like, Hillary, why are you studying for this debate? You should just come off the cuff, just let it roll, and be authentic. Don't be wooden and so gridlocked into what you want to say. And what your campaign says you need to say, as opposed to Trump, where he's just kind of free-flowing. She should have been out there during that time that she took off, meeting with the people that support her, not going to fundraisers and getting more money from donors. That whole deal is just total crap. Well, and then so we move on with the debate, and they kind of got into the topic of race relations and violent crime. This is a really I wish they wouldn't have brought this up, because I think this was a tricky topic for both candidates, because they were really trying to walk the line of not being too pro-police and not being too pro BLM, like Black Lives Matter. Hillary kind of went into she wanted to increase police training, increase the programs for the mentally insane, increase second chance programs. A lot of policy crap. Again, just a lot of different things. She wanted to improve community relations. The line that took me back the most was she said, yes, a black man and a white man that commit the same crime, the black man is always going to be blamed more or have harsher punishment than the white man. That is very inherently racist on many different things. I highly doubt if a black guy robbed a convenience store and a white guy robbed a convenience store that they wouldn't get the same sentence. I don't believe that. Unless one of the two had a history of doing that. So that was kind of inherently racist, and it was a jab towards a lot of people that are kind of on the fence with the Black Lives Matter movement and all that. So I don't think that was a good play by her. Trump kind of went into he was the law and order candidate, and that he wanted to do the stop and frisk program, which Hillary and Lester Holt clearly pointed out that it was unconstitutional. Here's the deal: stop and frisk. They claim it's discriminatory against certain people, especially like blacks and Latinos. The problem is that it did actually work, surprisingly. And Hillary likes to claim that the new mayor, the crime has went down under the new mayor. No, that's because of the policies that were in place under the last two mayors. It's not just because of the new mayor. We need to understand what his term would do. You got to look a few years in the future once he's out of office, because that's when his policies will be implemented. So I'm not totally sold on that either. Do I think stop and frisk is the right thing to do in that case? No. Hillary's whole deal about police training, I don't agree with that at all. I have many friends in the police force. I have family members in the police force. I can tell you this: they are highly trained in this for these type of situations. I mean, one of my friends just got out of the police academy. He had to go through rigorous training, over a year of training, just becoming a rookie officer. I mean, how much more do we have to do for cops? I mean, we can't put them through 4 years of cop school to be a cop. The type of training that they get is more than enough than they get right now. I think the problem is that the liberal media just keeps spinning every time there's a black guy murdered by a cop. It's just they want to spin that. The problem is it's very isolated. We're only seeing by the media certain events happening when thousands of whites were probably shot by police in the same time frame. So it's just total it's just total BS. Yes, there's some issues with civil rights right now, but there shouldn't be. So I think they should have just left that comment alone. I don't think either candidate really won that debate. I am more of a supporter of the police than anything Black Lives Matter, where they're chanting to burn down the suburbs and they're killing cops. So I would go more on Trump on this issue. After that, they kind of moved into national security and the Iraq War and the birther topic. That was the funnest one. Funnest. I just said funnest, didn't I? Not a word. Anyway, that was the funniest part of the whole debate. So Lester Holt was like, yeah, you started the birther movement, which is another one of Lester Holt's totally biased things. Like, why would you ask Trump about that and not Clinton about her foundation or anything? So that was just total crap. Trump was like, well, I'm proud of, bringing out Obama's birth certificate. This is a catch-22 for Trump because Obama has produced his long-form birth certificate. Here's the deal. I believe Obama was born in the U.S., but at the time, back when it was not totally confirmed, I did have serious doubts for a couple of reasons. He had dubious ties with Kenya, with his family relations. He kind of had a strange family deal in Hawaii when he was a kid. And he also held dual citizenship with, I believe it was Thailand. So, I mean, just a lot of different weird things about the whole deal. I don't think Trump ever did it because he was a racist. Because he's a racist. I think he would have done the same thing to Ted Cruz, honestly, if Ted Cruz would have been the nominee, because he gave Ted Cruz crap about that. So I don't think it was because Obama was black at all. I don't believe that. And then Trump, said that Hillary Clinton's campaign, 2008 campaign, was actually the first one to bring up the issue, and that's actually true. The liberal media can spin that as long as they want, but it was her campaign that first researched it. They never brought it to light, but they were the first campaign to research it and kind of investigate it. So for her to just say that's a blatant lie, it's not. It's actually 100% true. Hillary, you were the first one to look up if Obama was legitimately a citizen of the United States. So we'll just leave it at that. And then Clinton kind of goes on that barrage of, it was racially charged, and, Obama took the high road. Trust me, Obama did anything but take the high road. Obama has done nothing but trash Trump for years. I mean, before Trump even entered politics, Obama was bashing him. Obama didn't take the high road at all in that case. Both of them dug into the trenches on their both respective sides. It wasn't a good situation. But I don't think it needed to be brought up during this debate, and even though it did, I think Clinton should have got an equally tough question. She got all the basic questions that Trump did, but then they added a few of the, more touchy sides for Trump, a few touchy questions. They never mentioned the email scandal with her. They never mentioned the Benghazi deal. They never mentioned the Clinton Foundation. Just so many different things that they didn't try to bring up. So it was inherently biased against Trump. So then they went into the Middle East and everything, and Trump hit her on the usual. She was for the Iraq War. We should have went in and took the oil from ISIS. She's been fighting ISIS for basically ever. That was kind of a weird line, but I kind of get what he meant. She's been fighting these radicals basically for 30 years, and she hasn't been able to do anything about it. But I think this is where Trump has his biggest strength, is that it is a proven fact that she was disastrous in the Middle East. My favorite line of the debate was Lester Holt and Trump were questioning her on the withdrawal from Iraq, the troop withdrawal from Iraq, and why it was done on a specific date, and why we didn't keep troops in Iraq after the war was basically over. And her response was, well, George W. Bush set the date, and if we wanted to keep troops there, we would have had to ask the Iraqi government to approve the delay. I mean, what does that mean? Here's the deal. Obama is president. He can go to Congress and petition Congress to increase the term limit for troop deployments over there. He could have kept them over there. Not only that, she said, the Iraqi government would have had to been consulted and they would have had to approve the delay. We built that government. What do you mean we have to consult with them to keep troops over there? That is our government that we built. We built that nation into a democracy. We spent all that money doing it. So she can't sit here and tell us that we needed their approval, because that's just not the case. It's just total BS. I don't buy that for a second. Obama and Hillary wanted those troops out, plain and simple. If they wanted to keep them there longer, they did not have to sit there and abide by what George W. Bush did. They could have changed it. They had a democratically controlled Congress at the time. They could have made it happen. They didn't. The resulting thing, they destabilized the Iraqi government, which we built, totally collapsed on itself. Within 6 months, it was totally trashed. Radicals had re-infiltrated the country, and ISIS was born. Then a couple years later, she goes into Libya. She overthrows Gaddafi. And here's the reason why she overthrew Gaddafi, guys. The reason she overthrew Gaddafi is that Gaddafi was actually going towards a gold-based currency. And Hillary's donors in Europe did not like that whatsoever. They thought it was absolutely heinous what he was doing, and that it was going to hurt their business ties with Africa. So what did she do? She petitioned the United States to go overthrow Gaddafi because he was this evil, tyrannical dictator. Yeah, he was an evil, tyrannical guy, I'm sure. Problem is that if you look at the before and after pictures, Libya was actually a modernizing country. They were modernizing their roads, their freeways, their communication systems. After we went in there, we reduced many of their cities and infrastructure to rubble. I mean, we destroyed their country. It's no wonder why these people in the Middle East hate the United States, because they think that we're just over there to just destroy everything. So what she did was absolutely ridiculous. It was purely donor-fueled. I don't agree with it at all. So she has no defense on her Middle Eastern record. She tried to sit there and defend, oh, well, it was the best thing we could do at the time. I mean, just cut the crap, Hillary. I mean, Trump is completely right in this case. We should not be over there nation building. We should be focusing on our country first. We spent $6 trillion. Trump's right. We could have taken that $6 trillion, invested it in our homes and businesses over here in the United States, and we wouldn't have the problems we had in the Middle East, and we would be $6 trillion richer or more. So she has no defense in this case. The Middle East is a total disaster because of George W. Bush, Hillary Clinton, and Barack Obama, plain and simple. That's just how the fact of the matter is. So I don't agree with her on that. And then, she went into, oh, the Iran deal is the best deal, in the history of nuclear proliferation, and it's just like, Hillary, give me a break. And then she went into the fact that Trump said she would have shot an Iranian troop ship that was taunting our soldiers out of the water, and that he would have caused another war. First of all, shooting a troop ship out in the water would not cause another war. Plus, number one. Number two, what is Iran going to do about it? Like, we're a huge military power all over the globe. Like, they don't have the resources to even think about starting a war with us, first of all. Second of all, here's the deal. And this goes the same thing with the Russians flying by our aircraft carriers and our troop ships, out in the Persian Gulf and stuff like that. When they're flying that close, that's an act of aggression. I can already tell you, if I was president, I would not stand for that crap for 1 second. If they got within, they were saying Russian troops or planes got within 50 feet of our aircraft carriers. That can destroy people's eardrums just from the sound. I would be shooting that thing out of the sky. If an Iranian troop ship was coming around taunting our guys, saying that they were going to kill us and that they hated us, I would blow them out of the water so quick. That is the total difference between Trump and Hillary. Hillary would sit there and just be meek. Oh, we need diplomacy. We need diplomacy. Well, I hate to say it, diplomacy only gets you so far before you get burned in the ass. I'm dead serious. Diplomacy can only get you so far. You don't want to come off as totally weak to the world, because then they can just take advantage of you. Do you really think Putin respects Hillary Clinton? There's a reason why the Russians hate Hillary. The reason the Russians hate Hillary is because they think she's a joke. To be honest with you, I think Putin thinks she's more of a war hawk than Trump. Putin recognizes Trump's strength, and he likes Trump for a certain reason. Why? Because Donald Trump leads by strength. He leads by his tough persona. Hillary Clinton, she leads from a back room where 20 advisors are giving her information. That's just not what Vladimir Putin likes. People say that Russian relations would suffer under Trump. I think Russian relations would be the best they've ever been under Trump. I think if Hillary Clinton gets in there, I think they're going to continue to deteriorate, and it could lead us to a conflict with Russia. So, then she got into, oh yeah, the Iran deal is the best deal, ever made. It's like, Hillary, how is the Iran deal the best deal ever made? We gave them back $150 billion, which she claims was their money being held in an account over in the United States. Who the hell cares if it was their money held in an account in the United States? We should have never given them back $150 billion. They said that they were going to take that 150 and build schools. I completely doubt that. They're going to take that money. They're going to invest it into their nuclear program, and I guarantee you they will have a bomb within 5 years. She claims, oh, well, we stopped them from getting a bomb. There were centrifuges that were running, and all this stuff. They probably already have one, to be totally honest with you. And it's only a matter of time before they start selling them and their missile technology to rogue states like North Korea. So what they did with the Iran deal and the negotiation of those hostages, and then paying $1.7 billion in euros cash to the Iranians for the hostage transfer, just shows a total lack of judgment on Obama and Hillary's part, and John Kerry. No negotiation skills. Trump is completely right in this. The hostages should have been the first thing on the table. He should have said, fine, if you don't want to give us back our hostages, we're going to triple up the sanctions. And 2 months later, they would have been running back to you, willing to negotiate, and we would have never had to give them that money for those hostages. It's ridiculous. It was ransom. We negotiated with terrorists, which is something that the United States has sworn that we have not done and we wouldn't do ever. So she was totally wrong on that. And then they kind of went into that. Then they got to the end of the debate, and this is really where it kind of pissed me off. Hillary got up there and she was badgering Trump. Oh, you hate women. You said that women were disgusting pigs and slobs and all this and all this. And Trump said, I was going to say something about Hillary and her family, but I'm not going to because it would be too offensive. Well, we later found out that it was something about Bill Clinton's affairs and how she stayed with him. That was really big of Trump not to go there. Trump could have easily went there and called her an enabler, somebody that was just staying with Bill to gain political power, which she was, let's be honest. So he went really big there, and her kind of going that low and hitting Trump for that was bad. I mean, on many different levels. I know she's just trying to pander to a lot of younger single women, but when Hillary is taking money from Saudi Arabia, who hates women and it suppresses women, and then she's staying with a man that has been a known cheater, I mean, at the least a cheater, for 20 plus years. I mean, she doesn't care about women's rights. She doesn't care about any of that. She's in it for herself only. So, that was pretty much the whole sum up of the debate. It was a lot more. There was a lot more fireworks than I thought there was going to be. Overall, Trump lacked policy knowledge in this debate, plain and simple. He was definitely off the cuff like he was, but that's exactly why I like him. All that policy bullshit that Hillary Clinton preaches is total nonsense. It's never going to happen, guys. Like, let's just put it this way. Her plans for all... I love the moment when she goes, yeah, if you want to read about my plan to defeat ISIS, why don't you buy my book? I mean, she was just hawking her book, basically. It's just like, this woman is a complete fraud. This woman is a complete fraud that is a brilliant BSer. She knows exactly what to say and when to say it. And that's why the Clintons have been so good in politics for the past, 20, 30 years. They know how to spin stuff. Just at this point, it's not working anymore. Like, all of her policy BS that she preaches, it's never going to happen, guys. Like, she claims that, we're going to reduce, or we're going to have all college free for anybody that makes under $125,000. That's like 99% of the population, Hillary. How are you going to pay for that $5 trillion expense? She talks about Trump's tax cuts. That alone would increase the national debt by trillions of dollars, guaranteed. Like, that's just not going to happen. Like, college is way too expensive, but the answer is not to just start making people get free college. It's not going to work. And then basically everybody's going to go to college, and then there'll be so much competition for jobs. I feel like wages would go down because of that, because then employers can pick basically the best out of the crowd. So that plan is total crap. And I should know because I went to a 4-year university and got a BS in computer science. So I do know all about how much school costs and everything, but the answer is not to just let people get it for free. So, Overall, I think Trump won the debate. For a couple reasons. I think some of his one-liners that he had were better than Hillary's. Hillary came off wooden to me. Um, she beat him in policy knowledge, plain and simple. I mean, totally smoked him on policy knowledge. Trump had a little bit of trouble enunciating and telling people like what his plans were. He had a few specific details about his tax plan and stuff, but overall she had more in-depth knowledge of everything. But I don't care about that because it's all BS. She's never going to do what she says she's going to do. She says she's going to build all these solar panels and invest in renewable energy. How is she going to do that when she's in the pocket of Exxon, who's the biggest oil producer in the entire world? I mean, it's just not going to happen, guys. So overall, I think Trump won the debate. Hillary's a joke. It's going to be a close race come November 8th. It's not going to be a blowout like a lot of people were predicting. It's going to be close. I pray to God Trump wins for a couple reasons. I don't think this nation can bear another 4 years of Obama's failed policies. Number one, this nation will be forever changed if the Supreme Court slides to the left, at least for a generation. This nation will be forever changed if she's allowed to do that, and then she can pass gun reform. Our nation will be forever changed. Her association with the Clinton Foundation and her big donors and all the pay-to-play schemes that she's been a part of is absolutely, completely worrying. I think she sold us down the river in the past 10 years. I think Bill has been doing it for 20 years, if not longer. There's just so much that goes against her. Is Trump perfect? No. Trump is not perfect. And Trump is not a savior. He's not a godchild of change, and he's not like the godchild of everything that needs to be done in the country. Trump has his faults. The problem is that Trump is not a traitor to this country. Trump, for the most part, as we know, has never had any major failures in business besides a few bankruptcies. There's just the list goes on and on. There's so many different things that disqualify her from even running. This has nothing to do because she's a woman. Trust me, there's many qualified women to run the country. It's just not her. I don't think this debate is going to change much. I think both sides have had hardened support for a long time, consolidated support. I think it's going to be a close race in the end. The advantage is probably still with her just because of the Electoral College. But we're going to see where it goes. So let me know what you think about the debate in the comments below. And thank you for watching this video.